Okay, here we go. The King's Daughter is directed by Sean McNamara and stars Kaya Scaldiero, sorry if I mispronounced your name, probably butchered it, and Pierce Brosnan, and is about King Louis XIV's search for immortality and how it brings him to the legend of the mermaid and how its life force can bestow eternal life onto him. But when his estranged daughter comes back into his life, he will find new meaning and new purpose. The trailers for this movie did not look good. I was not excited to see this movie at all. It looked so cheap and so cheesy, even though it had such great actors. I did not want to go see this movie at all. But I had to, because... And it sucked. It sucked hard. Okay. Good stuff. The settings are nice. All of the Golden Versailles stuff, and even the ending that I won't spoil in case for some reason you want to see it. The ending is very pretty. You can definitely look at it and be... entertained is a strong word. Any other good stuff? Every now and again, you'll get a good line. Maybe not said right, but a good line. Now and then, like every half hour. And that's about it. Now let's get on to the bad stuff. Okay, where do I begin? Let's start off with this. This movie is horribly rushed. This movie has no idea how to take a breath, how to let us breathe, how to let us take in a performance or the setting. It just wants to get to the next scene as quickly as it possibly can, whether it's the writing that's rushing or the editing. Oh my god, the editing. We will get into the editing later on, but for now, my big complaint with the editing is that it is horribly rushed. My big complaint with the script is that it is horribly rushed, which is a massive problem because it's so horribly rushed. We never get to care about any of these characters, whether it's King Louis or his daughter or his priest friend or the one maid that is the daughter's friend who I cannot remember her name. I barely remembered she was there, and I just remembered that the king's daughter had a love interest. Because none of them are memorable, because none of the movie wants to give any time to develop them. It just wants to move the story on as quickly as possible, and it is so rushed and so horrific. Speaking of that editing, my god, this movie is all over the place with its editing style. Sometimes it wants to be lush and lavish and wants to take a moment to let a scene speak for itself. But other times it just wants to do slow-mo, fast-mo stuff like you see in 300, even though we're just seeing people stare at something. Even if it's not particularly interesting what they're staring at, they're just staring at it. And the movie thinks it's so interesting to go fast motion, slow motion, fast motion, slow motion, and cut scene by scene by scene by scene by scene by scene by scene, motion, frame by frame by frame by frame by frame by frame by frame, even though we're just watching one character move. One of my favorite reviewers, Austin Burke, you can check out his channel at the link below, said this perfectly. I'm going to quote him because it is honestly a perfect description of how lazy and terrible the editing is in this movie. Do you all remember that one clip from Taken 3 of Liam Neeson trying to jump over a fence, and it takes 12 different shots and angles for them to fully convincingly portray that he was just jumping over a fence? That is the editing style throughout this entire movie. It is so unfocused, and wants to keep your attention span, so much so because for some reason, whoever it is, the editor, the director, the producer, whoever it was, decided that the audience that this was meant for has the attention span of goldfish, so we need to draw them in now, 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 now. Is this annoying? Is this annoying? Is this annoying? Is this boring? All answers point to yes. The effects, awful. I never believed for a second this mermaid was there. She looks like a cutscene from a PS3 game. I've never played a PS3 game. I've only seen scenes on YouTube from PS3 games, but everything that I've seen on YouTube from PS3 games looks like the effects in this movie. It is awful. The performances themselves range from horrible to fine to could be good if they weren't in a horrible wig and you can never take them seriously for a millisecond. The love interest is poorly developed and they have the chemistry of cardboard, the king's daughter and the love interest. The villains are so underdeveloped, so underwhelming, and so boring. One of them even comes straight out of nowhere and is suddenly the villain now, even though we've spent half of the movie thinking that he was just some guy, not even a supporting character, just some guy. And the modern soundtrack fits like you're trying to fit a triangle piece into a square hole. It does not fit. Did you get the metaphor? I hated this movie so much. It wasn't a drag to get through, to be fair, because it was only an hour and a half because this movie is so horribly rushed and horribly paced and oh my god, but it was not a slug to get through, at the very least. That is the biggest praise I can say for it. It went by quickly. That's my praise for the conclusion. Now the conclusion, bad stuff. The conclusion, God's everything wrong with this movie in just one big summary. The characters are boring and stale. The soundtrack is just completely forgettable. The editing is all over the place. And it is so horribly rushed that we don't get any time to take in any scenery, any bit of performance, any bit of character development, because for some reason this movie wants to move on as quickly as possible, because I'm pretty sure even they knew editing this movie, that it was going to suck. So they wanted us to get by it as quickly as possible. Get through it as quickly as possible. I got through it. It was quick. I still didn't like it any more than it would have been 2.5 hours long with more character development, editing that allows us to actually take in scenery, and pacing that permits us to care a single bit about anything going on in this movie. What grade do you think this movie's going to get? Honestly, what is the first guess off your head what I'm going to give this movie? Well, I can tell you right now. I'm going to give The King's Daughter a big fat F. But do you know the funniest part of this entire movie? At the very end, when they give their the end graphic, they give a couple seconds, and then at the bottom, it reads, "The end is just another beginning. They sequel baited it." Obviously, this will get a sequel, right? Well, guys, thank you for watching. I really do appreciate it. And let me know in the comments down below, I don't know, what is the worst movie you have seen with an all-star leading cast? Because there are a lot of picks that I could do, but right now, because it's so ingrained in my mind, The King's Daughter is up there. But still, let me know in the comments down below what is the worst movie you have ever seen in your entire life, even though the cast that is in front of all the posters is a great cast and have lots of talent and constantly give great performances, even though what they were in was trash. Thank you all so much for watching. You guys are the best. Don't forget to click subscribe and click the bell icon down below to stay up to date on all things movie, all things TV, all things nerd.